schönen guten Abend und herzlich willkommen zum Soundings Nummer 23. Wir sind ja tatsächlich mehr Leute im Publikum als auf der Bühne sozusagen. Das ist prima. Und wir versuchen jetzt, das ist das zweite in der Reihe von unseren Soundings, mit medienspezifischen Formaten zu arbeiten. Beim letzten Mal gab es einen Bot. Heute gibt es was Besonderes, das AOM Orchestra, Avatar Orchestra Metaverse. Ein Ensemble, das es seit 2007 gibt und das nur in Second Life auftritt oder vorwiegend in Second Life auftritt. Das heißt, ein Format ideal gemacht für diese komischen Zeiten. Man kann sich das im Stream angucken. Ich weiß nicht, ob sich jemand nach Second Life begeben hat, aber der kriegt dann meine Moderation nicht mit.
Sieht nicht so aus bisher.
Second Life in diesem Fall bedeutet eine Version von Regensburg, weil einige der Mitglieder des Orchesters aus Regensburg sind. Das Ensemble besteht aus Mitgliedern von mehreren Kontinenten, die auch dort bleiben und sich dann eben in diesem Second Life treffen mit eigens angeschafftem Grund, für den man Miete bezahlen muss, und was besonders ist, auch selbstgebauten Instrumenten, das heißt in Second Life selbstgebauten Instrumenten. Das ist nicht so wie bei normalen Streaming-Konzerten, wo man jemanden sitzen sieht mit seiner Gitarre oder was auch immer, das dann gestreamt wird, sondern die Instrumente sind genau da, wo die Performer auch sind, virtuell in einer Para-Welt und haben dann die Möglichkeit, telematisch miteinander zu musizieren, indem sie sich Daten und Sounds schicken. Das Ganze ist nicht vorher aufgenommen, sondern wird tatsächlich vor Ort generiert. Ich muss manchmal über mich selber lachen und meine Ausdrucksweise. Und das Ganze heißt in diesem Fall ein Programm, das ich auch gleich im Chat poste. Es gibt ein kürzeres Stück zur Einleitung, das heißt CptrPwRHm. Dann gibt es zwei längere Stücke, Fragula und Forest Being, jeweils 20 Minuten. Das Ganze läuft ohne Pause ab, aber nicht ohne Ortsveränderung. Und danach öffnen wir das auch für Fragestellungen. Wenn jemand zwischendrin schon Fragen einfallen, kann man die einfach in den Chat posten. Ich sammle das dann so ein bisschen und versuche das zu organisieren nachher als virtueller Host mit kleinem Bildschirm. Es ist besser, wenn ich was im Chat sehe, als wenn es jemand mit Kopfnicken versucht zu machen, weil ich die Köpfe möglicherweise nicht sehen kann. Jetzt poste ich das Programm und dann wünsche ich viel Vergnügen und wir sehen uns in ungefähr einer starken Dreiviertelstunde wieder. So, super.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I switch to English now so that we can easily communicate with the ensemble. It's, yeah.
Yes, that's better, I guess.
And also I gave some clappings, but I cannot see what I'm doing.
Oh, we can clap too. So we can clap ourselves, actually,
Yes.
within Second Life.
As announced, there is a chance to ask questions now. Ah, you can applause. Yeah, you should
We
get
can
an applause.
clap.
If I can only wiggle my microphone, but it will be nasty sound.
Yeah, thanks very much.
So one thing I forgot to mention when we started was that the whole event has been recorded. So I hope everybody was properly dressed in the audience, and it's adult, no, it's youth-free content or so. But anyway, there was obviously some very different conceptions of instrument and performance, and you probably have something to tell about that. I didn't see any questions in the chat so far, but maybe we can give, since we are a limited amount of people, can give the audience a chance to voice themselves rather than type. Ah, yeah, you see.
Okay, ich schalte das Discord jetzt auch leiser. Sorry.
There was a lot for the audience. There was a lot going on in the background. It was running in Second Life. It had to be streamed to Zoom. Then they had to have a communication channel on Discord. Then, of course, we were also chatting on this Zoom chat. So it was quite a technical feat, I have to say. I don't know if you ever did it before, Harald, like that?
No, actually, we have never experienced that via Zoom. Yeah, of course, we have done things within Second Life and also with projections out of Second Life, projections with projectors, not on Zoom. But definitely, this was a bit of a challenge for us too, because we are all on our home computers, laptops, and running the Second Life viewer and also Zoom on the same computer is quite computationally expensive, so to speak. So maybe you have seen sometimes the image was a bit jerky. That was not so much the case in Second Life, but on Zoom it was a bit jerky. So that's due to the heavy charge that it puts on the computer then.
Yeah, we should have all flocked to Second Life, of course. But then
that was a bit
I wouldn't have made it because my computer definitely can't handle that. If nobody has any immediate question, I would have one. So I just bang it off and then maybe it triggers other questions. What was the first idea to start an ensemble in Second Life? As far as I recall, in 2007, when the ensemble was founded, there was no thing like Corona these days. So you could have well also stayed in real life. Of course, there was telematic performances already, people playing together over the internet and controlling instruments over the internet. But this is a whole other endeavor, using virtual trees as instruments, or these funny flat mushroom hats in the second piece, or whatever. So that's my question.
Yeah, I think that's a question for one of the older members, as I'm one of the very young members of the ensemble. I shouldn't answer that.
Is anybody of the older members listening?
Just checking whether they have the rights to unmute them.
Yes, in a way, I would give that to
yes.
To maybe to answer that, because he was one of the first members and he had the musical side into it.
Yeah, I can say some words. I think it was really something happening with internet by that time. It was getting a bit more faster and not being in the center of everything like in the capital cities of places. Internet brought a lot of challenging and exciting possibilities to compose new music, to really play with other people all around the world. And it started very much with the Regensburg people, and Shintaro in Berlin was one of the also founding members. And then lots of other joined, like Norman from USA. And yeah, it was really a new possibility to create together. And I speaking very much from the musical side to explore with sounds and music telematically. Then I mean, so much more is also to build the environments and the instruments. So that was really a very nice organic growth of this orchestra. We started like, how many were we? 5, 6, 7 in the beginning. 7, 8 maybe. And we also have a Horst Hefferman, Harold Jellings from Netherlands was also one of the very early.
And I came in a little bit later, actually, at the invitation of Pauline Oliveira.
Yeah.
She was a member fairly early, if I recall.
And Pauline Oliveros, of course, was joining, and we adapted one piece of her, Heart of Tones. And that was a real challenge also for our instrument builders and for us to play with both voices and other performers who played live instruments, trombones.
Yeah.
Okay, I will stop there. I think many can fill in more to this. I forget very much. So that was...
So the idea to develop instruments which are very unlike the instruments we have in a real world somehow. What does that mean to you, like this manageability, or you're tossing around things and they produce sounds? Of course, you can do that in real life too, but you do it in a different way. Can you tell a bit more about that?
Well, there's different aspects to that, if I may start. I mean, one thing is you can wear instruments. You can also become instruments in a sense. So other players can play you on your surface, for example. And I think that's a different feeling. So the instrument is not so much something exterior. I mean, it depends very much on the piece. But when you wear these masks and you play, you can also play others as well. And you can trigger things involuntarily in that forest. So there's different aspects to that.
Yeah, and it's a real challenge that you have quite a limit for. It's always samples behind the instruments. And the challenge is that you have only 9 seconds. So it's all composed with 9-second samples or less.
Yeah, that needs maybe a bit more of explanation. We are not streaming any sound into Second Life. That is possible, but we don't do that. We really trigger little sound snippets, and there is a limit, a technical limit that is inbuilt in Second Life. I think they did that for copyright reasons. So you can only play up to 9.9 seconds of sound. And so that's why granular things or little sound snippets that are overlapping and overlayered are so important in the pieces also we play.
Ah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So that's a limitation by Second Life, but of course that is a challenge for us as composers and players to overcome this and not to make it really a negative thing, or even we try to hide it basically, and I think that works quite well.
Mm-hmm. I was also referring to that strange process of mimesis of the real, of the first world or first life in second life. So you have physical bodies. I was wondering if you should have put up an adult warning tag because there was some nudity, whatever. And then, of course, it can go in totally different directions. And this relation, but it always pulls on you. You have some sort of gravity in second life. And all these mimesis of first life kind of informs ways of making music, I guess, or does it not?
I don't know how many people from the audience have ever been in Second Life before. There is, of course, a lot of copying from real life into Second Life, from people building beaches and houses and shopping malls and stuff. So we are already on a certain level of abstraction here with what we are doing. And of course, we could also be non-human or non-furry or we could also be objects and walking around as objects or so. But we normally don't. I mean, we could do that with the instruments you see behind us, for example. Around us, there are several instruments that were built by JORI, who is our cameraman today, so he's not totally free to do other things. But if you click on these, and we can all click on this bit, so you hear sounds, and we can also even wear them. Yeah. So that's something you could maybe not do. So you become the instrument basically. Wearing means you disappear in the instrument.
There's a strange resemblance to the images of the virus. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, it's all pre-virus instruments actually.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I should say anything. Can I say something? I mean, there are others who should also, everybody else should say something. Just two things I would add. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I entered at Pauline's invitation because she knew of my interest. In real life, I make real masks that have instruments built into them. So the masks become instruments. And so it clicked with me immediately in Second Life. Oh, I can do that in Second Life. But that also combined with a very important dream that I had, in which I was doing one of my singing mask presentations and started to lean back. This is a dream. I leaned back and was just on my heels and started rotating around. And I realized immediately in Second Life, oh, I can do that. Yes, there is gravity, but we can overcome gravity. And so it became really an intriguing and exciting way to combine my real life music making, as it were, with dream work and with this particular group in particular, with everybody doing this some way collectively and creating pieces together that extend and connect us across time and space. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. I see that there are questions coming in through the chat channel. So everybody can see them, but I was wondering if the audience can unmute themselves now, or should I?
Should be possible. Just try to unmute yourselves. That should be possible now.
there's some talk going on between Karen and Tina about the interface and instruments, like interfaces in first life and the interfaces in second life. I won't yet now read that, but maybe we can raise it to a vocal level instead from a reading level. Karin?
Hello.
Hiya.
Thank you for the concert. Very nice. Also visually. I was asking a question about, because I was wondering if you are totally, yeah, I wrote it down, I think, quite comprehensible, but I have difficulties to explain it now, because I think you are situated in the real world when you are performing in Second Life, but there's still a kind of central feedback, and I was wondering how you are doing it, and if there is, for example, another interface possibility, or not possibility, are you using different interfaces to perform differently in Second Life also, although you are doing your instruments there? Did I make myself somehow clear? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I'd like to say something about that. I mean, as far as the interface goes, basically we're all just clicking and pointing like that. But I think it really varies for people how they relate to their avatar. I think when you think of like first person view and third person view, I absolutely completely identify with my avatar, and that's not something that I would have expected, especially since I chose a fox. I chose that at the beginning because I was really kind of incredibly naive. I just thought, well, I'm not going to pick a person because I'd have to pay money to put clothes on it. So I'm just going to pick a fox and go with that. Mm-hmm. And the first time North did one of these performances for New Year's Eve, and we all put like things on our head and like floated around. It was a dream thing. And I wanted to change my hat. So I clicked detach, and my whole head came off. And I was so like shocked. And I thought, and first of all, I didn't even know that it was something that you could take on and off. And that the underlying premise of everything here is that it's humanoid in some form or another. And everything else is kind of a variation of that. And so it took me a long time, first of all, to find my head and put it back on. But it was a really scary thing. And there have been times when we are supposed to be naked or do different things, and it's okay if everybody does it, but there were times where I felt like I was in a position where I'm supposed to take off my head and take off my tail, and it was like I realized, oh, my whole I have identified with this avatar completely, and I felt for the first time what it was like to kind of it's kind of stupid, but this total identity with, it's like, that's how I was born, you know what I mean, in this environment. And to be otherwise was really disconcerting and, caused a certain amount of suffering. So that's how I identify so completely with my avatar. And so as I move it around, it's like, that's me out there and there's no distinction, but not everybody maybe feels that way.
So you're bridging it sensorily without even thinking anymore. Mm.
Flying is the best thing. And, when you were talking about like, earthbound like conventions, there's many of them that I've wished there weren't, but flying is a wonderful thing because you fly really high up and then you just let yourself fall and you just fall to earth and you pick yourself up and dust yourself off and you can do it again. It's like being a child on a jungle gym or something. And so that's a wonderful sensation to be able to fly and to fall and to fly and to fall. It's like in a dream. It's wonderful. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Now we are getting another question. Names.
There was another question by Andreas which is also in the chat about performing and especially like decision making and rehearsing in Second Life, how that's handled. And I know Andreas has a background because he runs a small, or he's part of a small collective, which does it in First Life. But I can see his curiosity.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for the performance. And actually, I asked a question. So I was just wondering, because it looks like a very quite big group. So yeah, just wondering about the working process. How do you make an decision or agreement on very different areas like stage setups or choreography, so many different things, and how do you make some harmony, or how do you communicate with others? That is my first question. And the second is,
One after the other, maybe.
Oh, so yeah, and just wondering about the rehearsals, the digital rehearsals. So it would be nice, yeah, if you could explain something. Thank you.
The ensemble is asked.
Yeah, that could be something for Tina, maybe.
Sorry?
I would suggest
I'm hearing a lot of noise on the line. I'm not sure who it is. Maybe if you're not talking, could you mute your mic? There's a lot of noise. Thank you.
It's gone.
Thank you. Did you want me to answer that question? I've been trying to answer them in chat as they come up too. I think you asked, was the question about how we rehearse together? Hello?
Yeah. Yes. Are you still listening?
I'm, yeah.
Yes.
Just, okay. So like I put in the chat, I mean, we, in Second Life, I'm not sure if you can see the interface here on Zoom. Yeah, do you see the nearby chat on the bottom of the screen? Maybe JORI could type something in there just to show how we communicate. And the rest, others of us can say something in there too. So you're seeing, this is one of our members is showing you the screen here as he would see it. And when we meet in Second Life, we use chat. We don't talk, and usually talk in voices. And so it's interesting. We have, we meet in English, which isn't everyone's language. I think just maybe 4 or 5 of us is our first language. So it's an interesting cultural dynamic that happens, in my opinion, sometimes. It's really quite beautiful. We have a number of instruments that have been made since 2007. Quite a few different instruments are very different from each other. A lot of the composers have thought about what can one do inside this virtual world that one can't do in the real world. So I guess it's kind of relating to the question you asked before also, is that we're not as interested in bringing in things we can do in the outside world as much as what can we do in here? How can we create together in here? And to consider this a space where we are meeting one another differently. It's kind of more of a purely mental meeting in some ways. I've often said to friends that there are things that I can experience and connections I can have with my colleagues in the orchestra that I can't experience in real life. I'm not sure why, and of course vice versa. But it is really quite a strange, compelling space.
Does it answer your question here?
Yes, thank you.
if I may,
I would still like to go a little bit into detail just how you deal with aesthetic questions in the group. Like how do you make decisions, or if there is, for example, disagreement on a piece, do maybe some members decide not to participate? Like is it, how is the general kind of group dynamic in the sense of creating a piece? I mean, it seems like there's some people who are like more composers for one piece and the others are performers, but I would like to know more the structure.
I'm just going to say one thing and then someone else can answer. I think you would probably get 10 answers to that question. So someone else can
okay,
jump in.
like, did you understand me?
Yeah.
Is it frozen?
Yeah, but,
I think they're frozen.
yeah. I think the group is very open. It's any idea or practice or strategy or is open. So people bring ideas that are sometimes very practical, sometimes completely not practical, but we try to figure it out anyway. And the group has incredible creative minds that are all very different. And one of the, for me personally, one of the things I love about it is just seeing how everyone's thinking by seeing how everybody performs here, the choices everyone makes, the ideas they come up with. You know, for example, I would never have thought of flying around in a helicopter playing my sine tones, you know, and Leif, you know, has learned how to pilot this helicopter, which is really quite difficult in here. You know, so things like that juxtapose themselves that you couldn't think of doing otherwise are really, really fantastic. So there are absolutely ideas that some people don't like and others like, you know, we just accept them and we try to support each other.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I have appreciated all the times I've been with the orchestra, and that is just the openness with which everyone greets ideas and the willingness to play with them and to raise questions and to alter perspectives. And that comes from our working together in a very strange way. I mean, mostly through typing chat, and we have a good time, even with disagreements. So it's a wonderful way to work together.
I think I would like to say something because just like in this concert, do you hear me? Am I heard?
Yes.
Like in this concert, I don't really know who suggested that we play masks in Harold's Forest, but it just developed that way, and everybody thought, okay, you know, that's what we're going to do. You know, it happens fairly organically. Chris, you can go on.
Oh, I think sometimes we don't even need a decision for playing, as we are so motivated to create something together that we even don't need a kind of regularity in a way. As we found it out, and even the composers, they have an idea how it could sound, how this pitches could work, and anything like this. It's not this way of, okay, let's develop it, and it always creates something new which nobody is thinking before. I think that's a it's a kind of fire which is still existing in our orchestra. As in the beginning, nobody of us thought that it will keep running over such a long time. When we thought, okay, let's make this piece of Herocellings and play it over the world in the same time, this kind of simultaneously. This was one of the most curious points but there were so many people which got new ideas, and we kept curious, we still kept curious, and then it come and again and again we had new projects, and even this kind of mixed reality point, which we didn't talk about today. This is that was a point where we could show the people that we are not playing a game, or then we are not starting any samples, that we are a real orchestra. And in between of the last years, we became such a point of power without pressure, only because of our motivation to play. You know, this is. I think for me, it's as I started in this orchestra as a media artist, not as a musician. And for me, it was this idea, like for Max too, that we thought, oh, let's run every world which we can run, only to give them a try, and then let's look how it's working. But our group became so constant that I think nobody saw this, that it's still running and it's more and more fun. It's never stopped the fun, you know. It's this kind of, oh, let's run this. For me, it's this kind of fever which I still have, and at normal an artist don't have such a fever over after 14 years, you know. At normal, after 14 years, everybody think, okay, let's try a new thing, but we are still like the first day. For me, it's just every week it's a new week. No, and it was, for me, it was really this point that we are missing some people meanwhile, unfortunately, but there were always a new member or a new idea which kept the thing running. I think that's really positive thinking, and like our way, like the compositions of Tina too, this kind of listening, breathing, and this points, they are the same. They have the same importance like playing, and I think this is a good point of the Avatar Orchestra, that we are not only want to play, we want to listen to, and to create. Because of this process and because of this listening parts, we are creating a new kind of playing music, for me, in a way. And it's not important to have more interfaces or to have more. Sometimes it's even this simple pieces which we have. Sometimes they are becoming so complex because of our way of listening. We train our hearing. I think that's for me is one of the most important points of the Avatar Orchestra. In between of the last, it's a long time now. Yeah. That's my point, I would say.
That pretty much is it in a nutshell. That is so brilliantly spoken. Thank you. I'm sorry, I have to run and pick up my daughter, so I have to leave in a minute.
Yeah, but thank you for the extensive answer. It's super interesting. And just wanted to say that fever is definitely also something I sensed in the performance. It felt like a fever dream sometimes,
Thanks
but in a
very
good way.
No, but I think you should also remember that the pieces here are structured in a way that it can be played with 10 people, or it could be played with 6 people, 15 people. You know, there is a flexibility in the way we do things that makes it works, whoever are in it. It can work one way or the other. And this flexibility makes this running the orchestra. It runs as long as there's people in it. And there's been people in it for 14 years. Somebody has been there for 14 years. I've only been there for 14. And I was there at the first concert, but I was not a member.
But you already could play with us.
I was invited.
Yeah, but you didn't want to in the first moment.
I would say kidnapped.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say the orchestra is very inclusive. So I'm quite young here. I'm basically the youngest member, but they never make me feel this. So that's really a nice group also. And what I also found very positive is I'm totally coming from the music side. So I'm actually in real life a composer who composes a lot on music sheets. But in Second Life, there is no use doing that so much, and you feel also a bit freed from this burden of writing scores, and you can also use lights, images, objects, movements, animations, so many things beyond just composing a score of sounds and rhythms. And you deal basically with a very open world here, which allows you many things you could not realize in real life. Not only as a musician, but also I probably would not dare to produce visual stuff in real life so much, because I'm not coming from this side. But in Second Life, I just do it, and you find your way through it, and that is quite interesting. And the orchestra really welcomes these things. It's very open. So it's not just an orchestra in a traditional sense as you would conceive it in the real world. In the real world, orchestras work quite different. They are not grassroots things, grassroots ensembles normally. They are very hierarchic actually, and this is not the case in AOM.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Well, I don't know if I can. Can you hear me?
Ah, yes. Yes.
Yes.
Very well.
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Very well.
Okay, I just would like to say, but I just think the same of all of you talk. I would like to say just like two things. I feel like two important things. One is for sure like the people of the orchestra. It's really nice people, really nice people, like super nice people. So. For example, I feel at home being naked with the orchestra, but if I go naked to other places in Second Life, I don't feel good at all. So, like, people is one of the most important things that make the orchestra the way it is, and also language. Another fact, English is not our first mother tongue, as Tina said, but I think we try to create I don't know how to say that, an English language that is comprehensive for all of us, and also that is really kind language. For example, I think we never say you need to practice more or you are doing wrong. I never heard this. Sometimes you can hear like, maybe you can rehearse a little bit, or things like this. So I think like the way the language is used and the way of the way the people is, like the personalities of every member, is one of the most important things. So that's just this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I guess with the feather and the intensity, we have summed it up quite well. Of course, it begs a bit the question if Second Life is better than First Life for ensembles, because you talk so much about the freedoms you gain. And I would urge you not to answer this question, because everybody should consider it for themselves, and we are too much in Second Life these days anyway, or in some kind of not First Life. But I'm really happy about the performance, and I want to thank you very much from the side of the school, and I'm happy there was so much audience. And thank you, Harald, for making the contact. It's wonderful to see Leif Inge again, whom I met during some Sound Art exhibition in Cologne. And I also want to say the next Soundings concert will be on July 9th. also on Zoom, announcements to follow, and also on the website of the school, with a lecture by the Swiss artist Florian Dombois. So that would be my closing words, but I don't want to have the last word.
I want to have the last word, but just because I would also like to thank KHM again in the name of the orchestra. It has been a lot of fun for us and a great pleasure to play here. And we have prepared 2 documents. One was already posted by Leif Inge in the chat, which is a very nice portfolio of the orchestra, and also with a little summary about the pieces we played, and also about the players and the history of the orchestra. And I also place a program sheet now in the chat again. So if you scroll up the chat, there is still the document by Leif Inge, the portfolio. So that's a little gift from the orchestra, from Leif to you, and thanks very much.